crap. I'm sorry, but how do you do this right? I don't know. So we've had a video where you see all the amazing functions of the 2 notes LePreamps pedals. Then we had a video where we looked at the that's part number 2, in case you skipped that, where we looked at the direct out that the pedals have built in, which is pretty impressive. Then even more impressive, that's the word. That's how you say that. Even more impressive. For incredible impressiveness, running them into the Torpedo CAB, and if you noticed, I was switching and they actually just, turned each other off because they have this multi-channel setup with MIDI, which is killer. And they are also, while they're doing that, switching the Torpedo CAB, which is a great setup and absolutely cool. But a lot of us like our real amp, and 2 notes is, they're not stupid. They're like, hey, you don't have to use a speaker simulation. Obviously, we try to sell that to you, and there's a big benefit for recording for live. That's why they have the Torpedo Live and the Torpedo Studio. But you know what? Some people might just use a real amp simply because. And it's a good idea, too. So I've got the huge, oh my god, why am I saying this wrong? Grapes, anyone? The Hughes & Kettner Grandmaster 36 there, which I will use only for its power amp. So I'm using these as my preamps, and going straight into the Hughes & Kettner Grandmaster 36 power amp, down into the basement into a 112 cab with a Sennheiser E609 in front of it, going up here into the Universal Audio Apollo, and there is no speaker simulation involved whatsoever. Pretty cool, huh? Back to the real shit. As in the other demos, I have a KHDK Ghoul Screamer in front of these to show you how they can be pushed. There's a reverb which isn't on anymore, but I could put that on. Let's see. I need some power because it's feeping because it's in the daisy chain here. Why don't I? Hello? Ah, you have to also turn it on. It helps. So let's see. There's obviously no sound. For reasons that I don't know. I'm going through here. Let me follow my signal chain here. It seems that you cannot do that. It seems that the Hughes & Kettner Grandmaster, when there's something plugged into the return, doesn't just send it to the power amp. It simply just is silent. You have to have something in the front of the amp. Stupid. I'm trying the Deluxe 20. Let's see what happens. That works. Deluxe 20 works. So the return of the Grandmaster can't be used for this, but the Deluxe 20 can be used. Hey, Hughes & Kettner, what's up with that? So here we are now, Deluxe 20 going downstairs in the basement. Sorry about that. So that's just straight into the power amp and into the cab. And Hughes & Kettner typically has a lot of by the high end, and it's the power amp. We can hear that clearly here, which is kind of nice if you can dial it in. That's kind of neat, using it as a preamp with a real amp. Sorry guys, but I mean, the Torpedo CAB sounds really good. The built-in speaker simulation sounds really good. Doesn't sound that good, I'm sorry. Real amp, real tubes. Whoa, it's wow. Amazing preamp. I don't know how you play it. Something like this. That is really nice. I mean, that's a clean sound. I'd be like, now I'm like, woo! Again, no speaker simulation. This is a real speaker. My technique is horrible today. Let's go into the fusion and mix the two channels together. Let's try the KHDK Good Screamer. Woohoo! Let's stack the two channels and go into hot mode. The Ghoul Screamer just adds some warmth that I don't think the pedal by itself really has. But, moving on, the LeCrunch. Always you can get nice and clean. That bitiness is very clearly the Hughes and Kettner, because they're known for that. into cold mode first. And into hot mode. Let's try the Ghoul Screamer on top of that. Whoa. And of course the last test. Very nice, of course, with some Strymon El Capistan. Nice clean sound. Get the gain down a bit. Get some warmth in it. Super nice. But of course we want to know, how does it metal? So, here's my 2 cents. After all this, what do I think? Well, I'm having the biggest problems, not really problem, but out of the 3, the LeCrunch is probably my least favorite, let's put it that way. It sounds a little bit too sterile, let's put it that. Yeah, that's probably a good way to say it. Still saying, it's a great pedal. What 2 Notes offers here, for 299 euro, a great speaker simulation built in, which you can also access through headphones. A built-in effects loop, which you've seen works beautifully. Oh, we haven't even done this. Whatever. You could probably run, if you had 2 of these, 2 of them that are voice similar, let's say the LeLead and the LeCrunch. We could run this stereo. Yes, we probably could. If I put try to follow me here. If I put a distortion pedal in front of it, I'm going into the LeCrunch and then use the built-in speaker simulator into my system. With, in the effects loop, the left side of my effect. Then I'm taking, because I want that sound doubled, I'm taking the through out, which is taking the sound of my distortion pedal, it's taking it through and feeding it parallel into the LeLead. So if you set up those 2 A channels, which sound very similar, the same way, and then put the right side of your stereo effect into the LeLead's effects loop, you're gonna have a full stereo setup. Now that is neat. I could use that and run it stereo into my Torpedo Studio with speaker simulation and everything. That would be really killer. So if you have 2 of them, and especially 2 that are voiced similarly in the clean channel, you could actually run distortion pedals in front of them, use the throughout to double the signal, run it again into the LeLead, no AB or whatever ABY necessary. If I understand this correctly, I wanted to do it, but I mean, come on. How much can one do in a demo series? Holy frying crap. They're just putting too many features in these. Oh, as for the LeBass, the built-in speaker simulation makes it too dull for me. If you turn it off, the A side is a killer bass sound without the speaker simulation in DI. Absolutely amazing. I love it. I definitely want to use that for recording. If you turn the speaker simulation on, it dulls it quite a bit, which allows you to use the driven tones, but it's still not, it's still too dull for me. It's not, and the bass gets way too mighty. So for my personal taste, that's too much. Same thing with the bass simulations in the cab. It might just be that the guys at 2 Notes have a different taste than I have. It clearly looks like this. So, not saying it's not usable for that, but it's just not usable for how I approach the bass. Still a great bass preamp, and definitely recommended to play around with to dirty up your sound a little bit. Put a drive in front of it. There's a lot you can do with this. So absolutely not a bad pedal. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for in a bass sound. It gets too dull and too mighty. Now, the cab, obviously, for anyone who just wants to use their pedal board, goes straight into the PA, go straight out of your preamp from the amp. I mean, the wiring options are insane that you can do with this 2 Note stuff. All pedals are a serious best buy, thumbs up from me. It really just depends on what you're looking for, and you have to know your system. Are you going into a transistor into a transistor amp and you want to use that power amp for the LePreamps? Might work, might make it too sterile. Obviously, you've heard it with the Hughes and Kettner, which we know is very bitey. If I'm gonna send this into the Diesel or any other amp, it will change because the power amp section is different. I cannot go and test this with 20 amps. I mean, of course I could, but I'm not going to, because it's at some point this would be a 5-hour series, which by now it probably is. So I'm gonna eat more grapes, and I'm gonna have to edit all this stuff at some point, which is now. So I hope this gave you an idea of what the crazy French people, I don't know, why do the French always smoke? I don't know. The Americans think the French always smoke and are arrogant. Really not. Guillaume is like the nicest guy. So I hope this gave you an idea of what those crazy French can do. We're going to look at the Torpedo Studio in serious depth once the new software is out. And also the live at some point, if I don't know if I have time before Musikmesse. This stuff is crazy. Check it out. You probably would have to get it, take it home, and check it with your system, because how are you going to check it at the store? With headphones? Okay, you could. Into the return of an amp? Okay, but how? Because what amp? Is it your amp? Who knows? So, or maybe just take your amp to the store. That's a good idea. Make sure you're testing it with your gear, because you could see the results vary. Bye-bye.